You emerge from your egg and immediately realize two things. One, the water is much colder than you anticipated. Two, you are far from alone. Surrounding you are hundreds of tiny creatures thrashing wildly, bumping into everything, including you. There is no order, no guidance, only chaos. You attempt to move. Your body responds sluggishly and clumsily. You don't swim, you merely drift, out of control. Something smacks into your face, then another. No one knows what they're doing, and you are no exception. You wait. Perhaps something will appear, an adult, a grown-up, to come and clear up this mess. Nothing happens. No one comes. No one at all. It sinks in. You are on your own. Another creature approaches you. It looks just like you, only slightly larger. You think maybe it's coming to say hello. It opens its mouth. It's not a greeting. It's checking to see if you're edible. Instinct takes over. You flinch and propel yourself backward. Without a word of explanation, you've just learned your first life lesson. If you are noticed, you might become a meal. You don't argue with that law. You turn, attempting to swim, or at least something resembling it, toward a nearby cluster of aquatic plants. You squeeze between the stems, pressing yourself tight, trying to make yourself disappear. Around you, everything continues. The bumps, the thrashing, the senseless movements. Something just vanished from your line of sight. You aren't sure what happened, and you don't want to know. You lie still. No movement, no noise, only watching. Welcome to your life. After a while, you're not sure how long, hunger begins to set in. It starts as a faint discomfort, then rapidly evolves into something impossible to ignore. Staying still is no longer a viable option. If you don't eat, you'll die too. It'll just take a little longer. You poke your head out from the plants. Everything looks just as chaotic as before, but now you see it through a different lens. It's not just danger anymore, it's opportunity. Something tiny is wriggling near you. A worm. Looks slow, looks catchable. You don't overthink it. You lunge, mouth gaping wide as if you're some kind of apex predator, and you miss, completely. The worm doesn't even realize you just tried to eat it. You pause for a second. Maybe you just need to try again. You lunge once more, miss. A third time, miss again. At this point, it's getting a bit awkward. If anyone is watching, they surely aren't impressed. On the fourth attempt, somehow you snag it. Not because you suddenly got better, but perhaps because the worm was just unlucky. Regardless of the reason, it's in your mouth. It's squirmy, slimy, and tastes nothing like you imagined, but you swallow it down. Done, your first meal. Passable, for now. You keep trying, this time with something else, then something else again. The results are inconsistent. Sometimes you catch something, sometimes you just snap at thin air like a bad joke. You begin to realize this isn't going to be an easy skill to master. Around you, a few of your siblings seem to be doing better. One swims past, snaps, and it's over, as if it knows exactly what it's doing. You consider snapping at it just to send some kind of message, then decide against it. You can't even catch a decent worm yet. Most of the time, you head back to the plants, lie still, observe, wait for the right moment. You're starting to understand the little things, when to lunge, when to stay put, and when to pretend you don't exist. You aren't good at this yet, not even close, but at least now you aren't completely useless. Weeks pass, and somehow you are still alive. This in itself is an achievement, but things are also starting to change. You aren't just drifting anymore. You move with purpose, slowly but with intent. You venture out from the plants more often. The open water seems less terrifying than before. The food out there is better. More options, less crowding. You've grown accustomed to watching, waiting, and then lunging at the exact right moment. You don't always succeed, but at least you aren't missing in such an embarrassing fashion anymore. Then you see it. At first, it's just a shadow, long, slow, moving like nothing you've ever seen. You freeze. Instinct tells you not to move. The shadow draws closer, and then you realize a large, long-legged bird stepping into the water as if it owns the place. You press yourself against the bottom. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't exist if possible. It stops. Its head tilts slightly, eyes scanning the surface. Then a strike. It's so fast you almost don't see it. A creature somewhere vanishes. You still don't budge. It takes another step. It's right over you now. Its shadow eclipses everything. You see its beak pierce the water again, closer, very close. Then it's aiming straight for you. You don't wait any longer. You kick hard, lunging to the side. The water churns. The beak stabs down right behind you, a near miss. You zigzag, no clear plan in mind, simply driven by the urge not to die. It follows, stabbing repeatedly, each strike closer than you'd like. You head straight for the plants, no thinking, just rushing. You weave through the thin stems, forcing yourself deep inside. The beak stabs into the thicket, churning the water and shaking your entire hiding spot. You curl up, holding perfectly still. It waits, so do you. Seconds pass, maybe minutes, it's hard to tell. Finally, it stalks away, slowly, as if nothing had ever happened. You don't move right away. You wait longer than necessary. By the time you finally crawl out, the light has dimmed. You don't head back to the open water. Not today. A short while later, you encounter another creature, one of your siblings. You eye each other. For no clear reason, both of you decide this is a problem. You lunge, it does the same. And then, nothing happens. You snap and miss. It snaps and misses. The two of you thrash about, bumping into one another, separating, then diving back in as if this were the most important battle of your lives. In reality, it looks like two wet noodles trying to act dangerous. After a moment, both of you stop. You look at each other, as if wondering why you even bothered. The other turns away first. You follow for a few seconds, just to save face, then give up as well. You didn't win, but you didn't lose either. In this place, perhaps that is enough. A few months pass, and now you're no longer just a creature trying to survive. You have a routine. You have a territory. It's not official, but it's enough for you to call it yours. It all starts when you find a decent spot, plenty of plants for cover, a steady supply of food, and most importantly, not too crowded. You swim around for a while, scoping it out, and then decide, okay, this is your place. The only problem is, it's already occupied. Another one is hovering near the thicket, staring at you as if you were the intruder. You eye each other. No one rushes, no one attacks. You just advance, slow, controlled. You puff out your gills a bit, not too much, just enough to look larger than usual. You don't snap, you don't lunge, you just maintain a straight course toward it, as if you made up your mind about this a long time ago. It hesitates, backs off a little. You keep coming. And then, it turns tail and swims away. You settle right into its old spot. No pursuit, no need. You just won, without having to do much of anything. To be honest, you aren't even sure what you would have done if it hadn't left. Regardless, the place is yours now. You begin patrolling the area, not constantly, but enough to ensure no one gets any bright ideas. Most of the time, nothing happens. Occasionally, a stranger swims by, and a slight flare of your gills is all it takes to make them change course. Then one day, everything feels different. There's no obvious sign, but you know. The movement around you becomes denser. Others are swimming back and forth more frequently as if everyone has somewhere important to be. You start acting a bit odd too. You move more, you flare your gills more, you even snap at the water occasionally just to look busy. You aren't sure what you're trying to achieve, but it seems like you're trying to make an impression. And then you see her, a female. She swims through your territory as if it's nothing special. You immediately adjust your course, moving to intercept her path. You both stop. She looks at you. You look back. You puff out your gills, pivot slightly, trying to find your best angle. You try a quick snap at the empty air. Fast, clean, professional. Or at least you think so. She doesn't react much. You stand still for a second. Maybe you should do something else. Maybe not. You don't really have a plan. Eventually, she swims deeper into your territory. You stand there a moment longer, trying to look like everything is under control. Success, probably. Another day begins just like any other. You emerge from your familiar hiding spot, swimming out slowly. The water is still. No major movements. No unusual shadows. Everything is fine. Or at least, it appears to be. You spot a small prey drifting nearby. A worm, moving sluggishly, completely oblivious to your presence. You pause, observe, gauge the distance. You've been doing this long enough to know exactly what to do. You lunge. Precise, clean, without hesitation. And then it's over. There is no warning, no time to react. A massive force slams into you from behind, so fast you don't even have a chance to process what's happening. Your body is crushed. The world around you vanishes. You never saw what hit you. You didn't need to. A tightening pressure. Darkness swallows everything. It all stops almost instantly. There is no narrow escape, no darting back into the plants, no second chances. It is simply done. The large fish swims away, as composed as if it had just performed a completely mundane task. And in truth, it had. Elsewhere in the lake, the others carry on. One is hunting. Another is hiding in the thicket. Perhaps a few new eggs have just hatched. Hundreds of tiny creatures starting to thrash wildly again, bumping into each other, having no idea what they're doing. No one notices you're gone. No void is left behind. The lake remains the same, as it has always been. You survived for a while, not because you were particularly gifted. It's just that you hadn't yet encountered something faster, larger, and hungrier. Until you did. And that was enough to end it all.